Hi all, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Jartopus Technologies Private Limited. In the previous session, we have seen how to create a web application using Maven in Eclipse. So in today's session, we'll try to see how to build and deploy a web application. So let's get started. So we can build our web application in two ways. The first mechanism, guys, like if you are using any IDE tools like Eclipse or IntelliJ, you can build your project by using IDE tools. And the second mechanism through command prompt. So in both the ways, yes, we can build your web application. And second one, we call it as a deploying the web application. Even this deploying the web application also can be done in two ways, guys. Again, the first mechanism, suppose if you are using any IDE tools like Eclipse or IntelliJ, yes, you can run your project directly under the IDE tools. And the second mechanism is like, so once you have built the project, it will try to generate you the executable file. So you need to copy that executable file manually, and you need to put that particular executable file into the web apps folder of your Tomcat server. So in both these ways, you can run your web application. So let's get started. So let's try to navigate to our Eclipse IDE. So if you people remember, guys, in our previous session, we have tried to create a project with name something called as my web app, right? So now we'll try to see how to build the project, okay, in the first mechanism. So in order to build your project, so simply try to right click your project. So once we try to right click, it will try to open a new pop-up screen. So under this pop-up screen, so try to search for an option something called as run as. So once you try to navigate to this run as option, it will try to show you one more pop-up button or one more pop-up screen. So under this pop-up screen, you'll be able to see an option something called as Maven install. So let's try to click on this Maven install button. So once we try to click on this Maven install, it will try to build your project. So once the build is success, guys, if you notice, it tried to create you a folder with name something called as target folder. So this is the first mechanism how you are going to build your project through any IDE tools like Eclipse. Okay, so now let's try to expand this executable file. Sorry, let's try to expand this target folder. So once you have tried to expand this target folder, so if you see under this target folder, it created our executable file. So our project name is my web app. So in this scenario, it will try to create you a executable file with the same name of your project name, but extension will be either it can be a jar file or it can be a WAR file. So depending upon the packaging style, it will try to create you either as a jar file or WAR file. Okay, guys. So in my case, I have given the packaging style as WAR file. So that is the reason it tried to create my web app.war. So this is the first mechanism how we are going to create or how we are going to build your web application. So let's see the second mechanism, how to build a project by making use of command prompt. So let's try to delete this target folder, guys. So let's click on OK button. So no need to worry, guys, like how many number of times we are going to build your project. So those many number of times, every time it will try to create a new target folder. So deleting a target folder will not harm you. Okay, now we'll try to see how to build your project by using command prompts. So once again, what I'll try to do, guys, I'll try to right click on my project and then let's go to the last option, which is nothing but properties. So once we try to click on the properties button, it will try to show you the project properties. Okay, so here try to navigate a little bit up. So on the top, you'll be able to see an option within something called as resources. So try to click on this resources option. So once we try to click on this resources option, it will try to tell you or it will try to showcase you inside your local system where this particular project is present. So if you see under my location, okay, so my project is present under my C drive, under that users folder, under the desktop, under Giridhar. I have created a folder with name something called as workspace. Under this workspace, it tried to create my project, my web app project. Okay, either you can navigate to this folder manually. Suppose if you don't want to navigate manually, so you are able to see an option. So try to click on this option. So once we click on this option, automatically it will try to take you to that particular folder location. So if you see here, automatically it shown me, it has taken to this folder structure. C drive, again users, again under users desktop folder, under desktop folder Giridhar, under Giridhar, it tried to take you to the workspace. Now if you see under this workspace, I have created my project with name something called my web app, right? So let's go inside this project. So once you try to go inside this project, now if you see here on the top address bar, so try to keep your cursor on the top address bar and then try to type CMD, command prompt. Okay guys, now if you see the command prompt has been pointing to the same location. C drive, under that users, under that HP, under that desktop, under that Giridhar, under Giridhar workspace folder, under this workspace folder, we are into our project my web app. Now we'll try to see how to build your project through command line or through command prompt. So in order to build your project through command prompt, we need to write a command, something called as Maven clean install. Okay, guys. So in order to build your project through command prompt, so you should navigate to the place where your project exists and go inside to that location. And then you need to run this particular command, maven space clean space install. Let's try to press the enter button. So it will try to take a minute of time, guys. Let's wait. Yes. So it has built the project and it is showing the status as build success, right? Okay. Let's close the command prompt. Now, if you see, earlier we didn't have this target folder. So once the build is success, again it tried to generate you the target folder, right guys? So this is the way how we are going to build your project using command prompt. So let's check whether we got the target folder again inside your Eclipse or not. So let's navigate to our Eclipse. Let's simply say apply and close. Let's try to refresh. So before refreshing, guys, if you see under source folder, we don't after source folder will not be able to see any folder with name something called as target folder, right? So let's simply try to right click and then refresh. So once you have tried to refresh, automatically try to show you the target folder. So in these both ways, we can build your project, guys. Then we'll try to see how to run your application, web application. So in order to run your web application, guys, so simply try to right click on your project. Again, go to the same option, something called as run as. Under this run as, you have an option with name something called as run on server. So try to click on this run on server option, guys. So in my case, guys, I have downloaded the Tomcat server into my local machine, and also I have imported the Tomcat server into my Eclipse IDE. So that is the reason it is directly showing me the Tomcat 8.5 version server, which I have configured into my local system. So let's simply say next button and then simply try to say finish button. So it will try to take a minute of time, guys, to start your Tomcat server. And once the Tomcat server has been started, it will also show you your web application. Let's wait for a minute. Yes, if you look at the console, it says server started up in 16,885 milliseconds. Right, guys? So once my Tomcat server has been started, automatically it try to show my welcome page. If you see under my welcome page, I simply try to keep a welcome message saying like, welcome to web application and then powered by GeoOctopus Technologies. So this is the first mechanism how you are going to run your project or how we are going to run your project. And then we'll try to see how to deploy and run your web application in a manual fashion. So in order to do that, first, let me shut down my server. So let's try to click on this terminate button. Okay, now what we'll try to do, we'll try to expand this target folder, guys. Under the target folder, it has created our executable file. So let's copy this executable file. So let's say right click, let's say simply copy. Now what I will try to do, so I'll try to go to my system. So as I told you, like I have downloaded the Tomcat server into my local machine. So let's go to C drive. Under the C drive, under softwares folder, I have kept my Apache Tomcat server base. So once you have navigated to this Apache Tomcat server, so you need to go to a folder with name something called as web apps folder. So go inside this web apps folder and then try to paste the executable file. Okay, guys. So once you have pasted your executable file, now the next step is like you need to run your Tomcat server. So in order to run the Tomcat server, let's go one step ahead. So let's go to the Apache Tomcat. Then you will be able to see a folder with name something called as bin folder. So let's open this bin folder. So once we have opened this bin folder, under the bin folder, you will be able to see one Windows batch file with name something called as startup.batch file. So you need to simply double click on this startup.batch file. So once we try to click on this startup.batch file, it will try to start your Tomcat server. So let's wait for a minute, guys. Yes. So if you see the server has been started in 12,883 milliseconds, guys. Okay. So once the Tomcat server has been started, so what it will try to do internally, guys, like whatever the executable files that we have pasted under your web apps folder, those executable files will be extracted. So let's check whether it has been extracted or not. So once again, let's go back to this web apps folder. So once we go to this web apps folder, so we just pasted our executable file with name something called as mywebapp.war, right? So now if you see with the same name, it has created one more folder with name something called as mywebapp. So now whatever the executable file we have kept, so the executable file has been extracted successfully. Now we want to test whether the application is running properly or not. So in order to test it, so let's try to open any one of the browser. Okay, and then let's simply try to type localhost 8080 slash your project name. So our project name is my web app. So we are trying to say localhost colon 8080 slash my web app. So localhost we are trying to give because of the reason, guys, Tomcat server is running under our local system and your browser also it is presented in the same system. So that is the reason we are trying to specify it as localhost. And then colon 8080 we are trying to specify, guys, because Tomcat by default runs under a port number something called as 8080. After that, what is the project name? So your project name is my web app. So we are trying to give our project name and then let's hit the enter button. So once we hit the enter button, so the same page should be visible. Yes, whatever the page that you got inside your Eclipse IDE, the same page is getting displayed over here. So first it is saying like welcome to web application and then powered by Octopus Technologies. So in these two ways, you can deploy your web application, guys. For the latest updates on upcoming new batches and job openings, you people always can follow us on our Facebook page, guys, which is Java Online Training, or you people can always reach out to our website, which is called as javpurpose.co.in. That's it for today's session, guys. See you in the next session. Bye bye.